I'm going to teach you now a practice called the core breath. And this is one of the main practices of the realization process. The realization process is a series of practices for uncovering in ourselves, for actually realizing ourselves as a very subtle, undivided dimension of consciousness. I call it fundamental consciousness. It's actually mentioned in many of the spiritual traditions in Buddhism and in Hinduism, where it has many different names in the spiritual literature. But I call it fundamental consciousness in the realization process. We can experience this consciousness, this undivided, unmodified consciousness, pervading our whole body. And when we do, we experience our whole being at once. We experience our internal wholeness and our ability to think and feel and sense and perceive as a unity, all at once. And at the same time, we experience fundamental consciousness pervading our whole environment, other people, everything around us. And that means that at the same time as we realize our individual wholeness, we also transcend our individual wholeness and realize our oneness with everything and everyone around us. In the core breath, we attune to and breathe within a subtle channel that we can experience running through the innermost core vertically of our torso, neck, and head, right? The innermost core. This part of ourselves, it's also mentioned in the traditions, in the spiritual traditions, because it's a very important aspect of our spiritual realization. It is a portal, an entranceway into fundamental consciousness. To really experience oneness, we need to realize it all the way through the whole internal depth of our being, including this subtle core of ourselves. In terms of our personal maturity, it's also quite important because it enables us to experience our whole self at once. It is our deepest contact with our internal being, with our own being. And it's also a still point. It's an element of stillness within all of the movement of life that we can find and live in and always know. So a very important part of ourselves, the core. And now we're going to attune to it. So sit up comfortably. Start by just breathing, just breathing. And calm, even breath. Now come down to your feet and enter into them. Experience yourself living within your feet. Deep contact with yourself within your feet. And let your breath adjust to being that far down in your body so that your inhale doesn't lift you up away from there. And now, if you can, inhabit your whole body, including your feet, so that you feel contact with yourself everywhere in your body, all at the same time, that you're living within your body. And sitting as comfortably as you can within your whole body. Now you can do this eyes open or closed, whichever is more comfortable. Find your head center in the innermost core of your head. Just by being in that innermost core point of your head, right, the center of your head, but as deep as you can focus, as you can find within the internal depth of your head, just by being there, It enters you into your internal wholeness. It gives you contact everywhere in your body without leaving your head center, just by being there. And now bring your breath into your head center and back out again. Right? The breath comes in through both nostrils, makes a single stream of air that can go right through that internal depth of your head into the center, and then back out again. Now initiate the breath within your head center, as if you had air there that you could breathe. So the very first place you feel the breath move, and it's so subtle, it's almost a thought, but it is a breath. It will move in your lungs and your nose, but before that happens, see if you can feel it move in your head center. And both the inhale and the exhale occurring within your head center. Now, this can be a long breath. You can get plenty of air, but it's occurring in that tiny center deep within the innermost core of your head. Just by breathing within your head center, you may be able to feel a gentle vibration all the way down through your whole core, down to the base of your torso, right in front of the base of your spine. Now find your heart center. It's in the center of your chest, but deep in the core of your body, also known as the heart chakra. Right? So focusing as deeply inward as you can, without strain within your chest, and being right there in your heart center. You can leave go your awareness of the head center now. You're just in your heart center. Just by being in your heart center, it enters you into your internal wholeness, gives you access everywhere in your being at once, without leaving that heart center. And now initiate your breath within your heart center, as if you had air there that you could breathe. And again, so subtle, like a thread of breath, almost a thought. Just by breathing within your heart center, you may feel a very gentle vibration throughout your whole core. Now find your pelvic center, center of your pelvis, but deep in the core of your body. Just by being in your pelvic center, it gives you access, contact everywhere in your body at once. Right? Each of these points enters us into wholeness and into oneness. Now initiate your breath within the pelvic center. feeling that gentle vibration throughout your whole core, just by breathing in the pelvic center. Now we're going to do all 3 points. Find your head center again. Find your head center and your heart center at the same time. If you can, add in the pelvic center as well. You may find you can only do 2 today. That's fine. With practice, you'll be able to experience all 3 at the same time. Now, just by being in those 3 points, it enters you into your internal wholeness. Initiate the breath from within all 3 points, or 2. And this time, feeling that gentle vibration everywhere within your body, just by breathing within those core points. If your eyes are closed, open them. See if you can still feel that you're in your head center, your heart center, and your pelvic center, and that those 3 points enter you into your wholeness. With your eyes open, initiate the breath from within all 3 points, feeling that gentle vibration everywhere in your body. You may experience the deepening of perspective that we can from our core. So take a moment to experience your environment from this core of yourself. Now, find the space outside your body, space in your environment, not visually, but actually finding it, experiencing it, that space around you and way out from your body. And if you can, attune to the space that's inside your body and outside your body at the same time. One continuous, undivided expanse of fundamental consciousness, pervading your body and your whole environment. Let's take a moment to let go now into that space from within the head center. And it's just like opening a fist, right? It's just our habitual way of holding ourselves can be let go from this core, right? So we're not leaving the core to do that. We're letting go right within the core, right within the head center, into that pervasive space of fundamental consciousness. Let go from within the heart center into that pervasive space. Let go from within the pelvic center into fundamental consciousness. And let yourself experience that you're still living in the core and breathing there. And that the whole internal space of the body is full of that gentle vibration. And at the same time, the stillness of fundamental consciousness. It's experience the stillness pervading that alive internal space, breathing space of your own being. When we know ourselves as fundamental consciousness, this is the experience, the stillness of fundamental consciousness pervading everywhere, and at the same time, the movement of life, the free-flowing movement of life, moving through that stillness without disturbing, without changing that unbroken, unbreakable ground.